New intro. So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also, you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you. All right, so before we get started, whenever I happen to do these videos, I'm just going to let people know that the way that my mind works, it's like a tree. So I branch out into a lot of different topics and I go into a lot of different things and talk about a lot of different things. But at the end of the day, everything is rooted in and connected to the exact, same thing. Um, so I think I have to put that disclaimer out there just in case I happen to do videos like this and I'm talking and I start going into like different topics and people are like, yo, you're losing your point, I don't understand what you're saying, and different things like that. Like I said, this is the way that my mind works. A lot of people's minds don't in a sense work in a linear type of fashion. Mine is in a sense is multifaceted. So this is why in a lot of conversations you hear me veer off into a lot of different like I said, you'll get it. The more and more I do the videos, I think, people will happen to, get it, see it, and understand it, and it'll sort of be a, second nature, type of deal or whatever. But whatever. We'll just get to the all right, so this is just me just talking, right? There's not really, a topic that I'm doing. It's just more so just, talking about some standard, type of stuff. And it's more so, I guess you could say, going over some of the videos that I've done where I've talked about the failure of adults, defending children, right? And even within that video, I talked about how all the adults basically, failed the child, and the fact that, 9 times out of 10, whenever we hear about stories, you know, adults are not advocating for the kids. They're like, oh, this black woman this, or this black man that, and all this other type of stuff. But nobody's really caring about the kids. They're caring about the ones that they see that are reflective of them. Right. And that's what people tend to do. Anything that does not look like them or does not match up or does not fit in that box, people aren't going to care about. So if there are kids that are involved in the situation and they are in harm's way, 9 times out of 10, when you look at the comments, people really aren't going to mention or talk about the kids. And that's just the way it is. And this is why I sit up there and say, right, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that adults don't really care about kids. Because if adults really did care about kids, there would be a lot more adults being proactive, right, and actually advocating, for kids. Kids don't really have a voice. Kids that are, a couple months, a few years, right, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they don't really have a voice. They don't really have an avenue to go to where they have, a safety net, where they have somewhere where they're like, you know what, I'm safe here. I'm okay, right? This is my space where I can speak, right? Women have a spot. They've always had a spot where they can go to and they can talk about any dilemmas, relationship issues, or if they're being wronged by men or whatnot or whatever. There's tons of like echo chambers. There's tons of stuff on social media. There's tons of actual, shows, or even, things that they do in the news where they'll have like a specific segment for women. There are now areas for men, right, to talk to and to breathe and different things, like that. Every group, right, even if it's the LGBT, they have their own, groups. And other races of or other ethnicities, they have their own groups, right, in their own areas. The only people that don't are children. And children are some of the main ones that are always in harm's way because of the wrong decisions adults make on an everyday basis, because of the selfish decisions adults make on an everyday basis. And this is just facts, because kids never asked to be here. Kids never ask to have the parents that they have. It's just a random lottery that takes place. And it's like, all right, well, we're going to put you here. Good luck. Because every single time I see, a child in a predicament, it's always with people that should have never been together in the first place. And this is when I always get on the adults and I'm always asking the question, if you know that both of you are of chaos and you clearly know that you are agents of chaos, why be together to the extent to formulate a bond, which is then going to produce a child, and then both of y'all are going to be like, well, I'm not responsible for it? Because I'm not up for the whole thing of like, well, women are always responsible for their kids. All right, this, like I said, this time I'm going to break it down. Whenever people want to always talk about deadbeat fathers, nobody ever wants to talk about deadbeat mothers. What I mean by deadbeat mothers, women don't really have responsibilities. And people are going to feel a certain type of way when I say that and be like, well, what do you mean? Like, women don't be responsible? There's a lot of single mothers out here. A lot of women are single by choice. A lot of women are raising children by themselves by choice, right? And this is what I mean by women don't really have responsibilities, right? If a woman said that she doesn't want to have a child, guess what? She got the plan B. She can go into the doctor and be like, yo, I want to sit up there and get rid of this. She can be like, all right, well, I had the baby. Let me just leave it in the mall, right? Let me leave it with the fire department. Let me leave it with the police. Let me leave it with the hospital. The government's not going to come after them for money or child support, nor is anybody else. They're going to be like, yo, she realized that, she wanted to give this child a chance. She realized that she was not a strong enough woman at that point, and she was strong enough, right, as a mother to, let her child go. That shows a lot of strength, right? That shows a lot of logic, and people will literally praise, right, a lot of those things, right? But then if you have fathers that are like, you know what, I'm not really the type of guy that should be in this child's life, right? I'm not really doing anything positive in life for me to, be, in this whole, arena, right? Everything that I am right now is not something that is reflective that I would want my child to take on. Doesn't matter if it was a boy or girl. I don't want them to take that on because it's not anything that's positive, right? So I'm going to sit up there and subtract myself out of this situation to then allow this child to have a better chance because I know I'm not nothing right now. Doesn't mean I'm going to be the same thing later, but I need a little bit just so I can be a little bit of something so that I can be something positive in this child's life instead of overall detrimental and something negative. If men basically do that, and men have done that, people like, nah, we still throwing you on child support, right? Nah, we still going to somehow make you the father. Nah, we're going to sit up there and still throw you in jail and prison. Nah, because you don't want to do it, we're going to sit up there and get you a record. Nah, because you didn't want to do it, now we're going to sit up there and call you a bum. We're going to call you a deadbeat. We're going to call you this. We're going to call you that. But like I said, women do the exact same thing, but people don't want to sit up there and put responsibility on those women. Nobody wants to sit up there and look at the whole aspect of that women choose the guys that they want to lay down with. And I've said this a million times before. I, as a guy, cannot go up to a woman and be like, I'm going to sit up there and get you pregnant. I can't do that. There's laws. There's laws against that. I'm not sure if people realize that, but there's laws, right? But women can literally sit up there and go around with any Tom, Steve, and Brad and just go lay down with them and just end up pregnant and then not know for like 6 months magically who the father is, but nobody wants to sit up there and look at that. But then people want to turn around and always blame the guys that slept with the women, but nobody wants to turn around and look at the women who decided, right, to have unprotected relations with a multitude of guys who are not fit to be fathers. Like I said, there's only so much responsibility that you can sit up there and put on a villain for being a villain, right? At the end of the day, you got to sit up there and start looking at the good guy, right? AKA, if we're going to be real about this, black women at this moment in time are Batman, right? And black men, in a sense, are the Joker, right? You can't have one without the other, right? But this is, in a sense, the one main thing. I'm not going to go like super, ultra like deep with it. I'm just going to sit up there and say it, like this, right? Everybody knows that Batman is like the world's greatest detective, right? But at the end of the day, the Joker always gets loose, right? You always have this Joker that is always out here doing something, committing these crimes and different things like that, right? But the problem with Batman is he can be the world's greatest detective, but he's also the dumbest criminal. I mean, the I'm not criminal, the dumbest superhero. And why is that? Because Batman continuously allows a lot of these villains, right, to decide to, hey, you're going to escape Arkham, you're going to rob a bank, you're going to be ruining people's lives, you're going to be taking lives. We can only put so much responsibility on crazed individuals, right? On those few crazed individuals that are out there, versus looking at the people that are, in a sense, enabling this type of behavior. So, like I said before, you have a lot of black women out here that want to always talk about how a lot of black men ain't this, ain't that, but yet they enable that, ain't this type of black male behavior because they're consistently having dates, having relationships, creating children, creating bonds with those types of individuals. So it's like it's a perpetual circle that's going to keep going. And like I said before, somebody, it's like a generational curse. Somebody has to be the one to be like, you know what? I'm going to make better choices out here. We're going to sit up there and stop, this generational, curse, you know, type of deal, this type of mess, because this can no longer keep going. Because the longer and longer this keeps going, it's just going to lengthen, it's going to get worse, and everybody's going to be wrecked at the end of the day. And it's like, in order for that not to happen, somebody has to be like, yo, I'm going to be the one to sit up there and change. I'm going to be the one to sit up there and make better decisions. And I'm going to be the one that's going to live my life differently so that I don't cause the same exact thing that's happened for the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years to keep going on into like the future after I'm gone. And then we get into the whole other aspect, right? Where you're going to have individuals out here that's like, well, you're trying to put all the responsibility on, black women, but what about all the what about place of responsibility on black men? Well, this is my easy reply to that. Black men have always been made to be responsible for everything, even things that they didn't do. I'm not sure if people, you don't even need statistics to look at this. Like I said, me as a black man, right? Any videos that I've done, this is why I love whenever people like say nonsensical and stupid type of stuff, because I can look at the videos that I've previously done and I know that I've thrown myself directly into a lot of these conversations. And I do this to let other black men know, it's like, yo, just because I'm doing this or whatever it is, I'm not saying I'm above you. I'm not saying I'm below you. I'm saying like, yo, we're in the same boat. We see the same things that's going on. We can sit up there and fix this. We can evaluate the situation like men do. We can logically think through this without emotions, and we can sit up there and come up with a sound plan to sit up there and rectify a lot of these situations. That's how men think. That's what men do. Better yet, that's what I've done. And there's a multitude of videos where I've basically stated that, and I've listed the problems, I've listed the areas, and I've also listed solutions that we as black men can sit up there and do in order to rectify and fix these situations. Now, what I have not really seen, now there's a few black women that might do it, and I watch a few of them. Like I said, and kudos to them. Like I said, much love and appreciation for the content and the things that they sit up there and do, and the truth that they decide to put out there and speak. But the overwhelming majority of black women are not going to sit up there and say like, all right, us as black women, we're messing up, right? I'm messing up as well. A lot of black women aren't going to sit up there and do that because they're like, well, no, it's just those black women that's messing up. I'm not a part of the situation. That has nothing to do with me. Right. And that's how a lot of black people think. They're like, well, I'm not a part of that situation. I'm not, committing crimes. I'm not selling drugs. I'm not a part of gangs. Like, this has nothing to do with me. Well, realistically, it does. Inevitably, even though you're not the main part of it, sooner or later, everything that we're talking about is going to end up hitting your doorstep. So it doesn't matter if it's going to be your child that's going to be dealing with some of the gangs that I was talking about, or some of the criminals that I was talking about, or the police that I was sitting up there talking about. Somehow, some way, you can try to differentiate yourself. You can say like, yo, I'm so different from this. I got so much more money. I got so much more education. I made so many more life choices that are better than all these other individuals. I'm not in this box. Inevitably, At the end of the day, what's going to happen is every single thing is going to end up hitting everybody. So you can run from this. You can think that you can be the most educated, that you can have the utmost money, that you're living in the most affluent area. You can think that you made the best life choices ever in life in order not to be in those situations. Inevitably, it's going to sit up there and happen at your front door. And then you're just going to be like, you're going to have a boo-boo face. You're going to have a boo-boo face. And at the end of the day, you only got yourself to blame. Because instead of you wanting to be a part of the solution, instead of you wanting to help out and try to fix it, like I said before, you could be walking through a neighborhood that's full of trash. You know that you didn't throw that trash directly on the ground, but you know because you see it, you have the responsibility in a sense, or you have the option or the opportunity to make sure it's one less piece of trash there just by your act. So then if you got yourself that decided to do that, just think of 100 other black people that got your same mindset decided to do that in that exact same neighborhood that's full of trash. That whole neighborhood is going to be cleaned up. And now guess what? People are going to start to see the beauty in that neighborhood. So now after people see the beauty in that neighborhood, now people are like, you know what? I start to see these beautiful houses, but they need paint. They need to actually get taken care of. Like, they've been in shambles for years. Like, let's throw some love that way. So now people are going to come in because you got that mentality. It's like they see you painting. Now other people are going to want to be like, yo, I want to sit up there and beautify a house. I want to, sit up there and, and put my little, hands on it and show people what I can do. Now other people want to sit up there and do the same thing. So now since the trash is cleaned up, now since the homes are beautified, now since the upkeep on the lawns and the bushes in the backyard are completely fine and dandy, now what is that going to do? Now people are going to come in and be like, yo, I never noticed this neighborhood before. Yo, I've never noticed these. Yo, look at the fences. I want to live here. Right? So now because of one person's mentality that ended up changing and then showing other people that, yo, this one person do it, you could potentially do the same thing. That positive energy shifted the perception of so many other people that now it turns something that was not even a livable situation into a situation that people want to live in. People want to invest. People want to sit up there and raise families and different things like that. Like I said, people don't even understand how great their power is, even if it's just one of them. Because we've been taught for so long that in order to have so much power, in order to have so much influence, you have to sit up there and know so many people. You have to have so many connections. This is literally the point in time in history where anybody could become a millionaire overnight. Where whatever you find corny, whatever you find funny, there's a market directly out there for it. Somebody is willing to buy whatever it is that you're selling. But due to the fact that people have been told for so long that their dreams and their aspirations are nonsensical and that it's just not going to work out, people don't even want to go out here and try. So you got people just losing off of like a false principle. Like, it's crazy. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that my message is like it's scattered. And I'm probably going to like put a disclaimer, directly in there and let people know it's like I'm talking a little bit like all over the place, right? But if I could try to condense this into everything that I was stating, it came through with the whole fact of like responsibility, right? And advocating for kids and actually caring about kids. Because like I said, at the end of the day, I do care about adults, but I don't. Because at the end of the day, adults can always make their own decisions. They can always move away from their decisions and run away from it. Kids can't run away from this, right? So it behooves a lot of adults to actually put their big boy and big girl pants on and actually be the adults and the parents that they're supposed to be doing, instead of trying to swap the blame around on the other adults, on various adults. Or in some instances, a lot of parents, what they like to do is they put their shortcomings and their failings directly on the children because they're not adults enough to actually handle their own failures and lack of responsibilities, which is the craziest thing by themselves. Like I said, this is why I sit up there and speak up for, a lot of kids. And I put a lot of responsibility on adults because adults should be handling responsibilities because y'all the ones out here creating these kids. At the end of the day, y'all the ones creating the blueprints out here that other people are sitting up here following. But like I said, you can't tell people nothing because people don't want to be responsible for their own actions, because realistically, a lot of adults out here ain't really adults. And that's just facts. And if anybody want to have that argument, anybody want to have that conversation, we can do that. That's not a conversation you really want to sit up there and do, but we can sit up there and do that, right? And then, the other thing had to do with, accountability. The other conversation had to do with accountability and responsibility, and, also trying to, fix a lot of situations that wouldn't necessarily have to be fixed if people actually took precautionary measures, before they decided to jump directly into, a variety of relationships. And I've told people this before. I've tried to tell adults this before. And, like I said, a lot of adults don't want to listen because they feel like they know better, or they feel like because they're older, they don't want to listen to somebody younger because, I haven't walked, the same amount of time and I don't have the same understanding. Like I said, this is why a lot of older adults are dying out. And that is what it is, because a lot of older adults don't want to sit up there and acknowledge younger adults for the information and the knowledge that they have, because older people always think that they know best. And that's not always the case, because a lot of the information and a lot of stuff that you were taught is more than likely been wrong. And since you've been wrong your whole life, you think that you're right. And when somebody tries to come at you with different information and correct information and tries to correct the stuff that you've been saying and doing, you want to sit up there and look at them like they foolish, like they're liars, like they don't know what they're talking about. Well, realistically, you're the ones that don't know what you're talking about. But anyways, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think about this video and everything. If you made it through the whole video, thank you. But let me know what you guys think about the video and everything that I listed in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.